speakers. How are you doing today?
Amazing. Learning a lot about art, which is a good start of the evening.
Great. I think the best way to start is to introduce yourselves. So we can start with Julie.
Yes. Hi everyone. So I'm Julie. I'm PMM director at Alma. I have around 11 years experience in product marketing. Basically, I've done that all my career. And specialized in the tech and SaaS company, so very happy to be there tonight.
Thank you, Julie. Hi, everybody. I'm Anastasiia. That's the Ukrainian pronunciation, or Anastasiia, the French one. You can choose whatever you want. It can be Anastasia. I'm a senior PMM at Decathlon. We sell sports goods. Right now, I work on the launch of new e-commerce platform on new markets. Before that, I worked on the digitalization of stores experiences. And before Decathlon, I worked in a bunch of smaller tech startups as a PMM. And originally, I started my career in digital marketing. So if there are any digital marketers, no? Yes! Hi, bestie.
There's always one.
There's always someone. Thank you. And yeah, really happy to be here today. I also sometimes organize product marketing events here in Paris together with Product Marketing Alliance, and I'm really happy for once to be a participant, and sorry for you, Sanda, taking charge of the organization and everyone, all the organizers, but it feels really nice to be a guest for once. So thank you so much for a chance to be here, and I pass the mic to Anna.
Thank you, Anastasiia. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Ana Serrano. I'm originally from Spain. I think the accent, both in French and English, gives me away pretty quickly. I work in Salesforce. I'm a director for product marketing. I lead a team that takes care of the Sales Cloud product, which is basically the CRM for sales teams. I, like Julie, been in product marketing for a while, 12 years, first in Salesforce and before in Microsoft. Not my whole career, unfortunately, so that will tell you a bit about my age. And yeah, I'm super excited to talk about product marketing. It's a field that I'm very passionate about, so you can get me talking for hours. Thank you, Sarah.
Let's not do that. But no, thank you so much. I think the first most logical and generic question is to ask you guys to define what product marketing is to you, because you all come from different fields. And I want to ask you to explain it to someone who has no idea what it is. How would you describe product marketing? Anastasiia.
Yeah. I have so many descriptions. So the first one I would say is the reinvention of good old marketing concepts. I don't know if, I guess many of you have studied it at some point at the university, the Porter, Kotler, all these old strategies, but then at some point they reinvent themselves in modern world and adopt to tech companies and new formats of products and companies and markets. And another definition would be translating the value of a product and delivering it in a very compelling way through the right channels to the right audience to generate business value. This is a more like clear definition. But maybe someone else wants to share their version.
Thank you. I totally agree with your definition. The definition I give in the onboarding sessions around what we do in our team is connecting the dots between the product, the business, and the consumers or customers, B2B or B2C, basically creating a virtuous circle between the three areas and being at the center of that and being a coordinator or even a mediator of those three fields.
Anna, okay.
I don't know if I can add anything new to that. I would say yes, you're the voice of the product, and I think most importantly, the voice of the buyer, so the person that is going to use or buy the product, and you're the advocate internally for that person, right? You have different people pulling you around for different things, and your role is to, be that advocate of that person on what's the best way to talk to this person about the product and what is the best way to just help them be successful by buying your product.
Yeah, it's interesting that you all mentioned the connection between different fields, and as you know, product marketers work with different teams, and we get burnt out very, very quickly. Spoiler. But I'm curious to hear from you all how does it differ per industry? Because, for example, I've been working with tech startups for the past 5 years, and I find that every startup I worked with, my role changed. So I'm mostly curious about retail versus tech. So we know Decathlon is not known as a tech company, but still they do have PMMs. So I'd be very curious to start maybe with Anna on your perception in the tech industry, and then hear from Anastasiia about the difference between retail and tech.
Sure, and then maybe Julie can also share on her tech experience. Yeah. So you're interested in knowing the profile of that PMM takes in tech?
Yeah, so at Salesforce, how did it maybe evolve? What are the key skills that you have as a PMM?
At Salesforce, I must say there's different profiles of PMMs. It's a big company, so already there's different roles, by the way. There's what we call more the core PMM, which is what you think about PMM. They take care of the messaging, they work on what's going on the website, they build all those amazing decks. They work very closely with product marketing. That's, for me, more of a core PMM. As companies get bigger, right, and they need to scale in other markets, they hire a profile that we call go-to-market PMM. That's more my profile, which is I take care of, I was talking about the buyer, so I advocate for the local buyer, right? So make sure that Salesforce is an American company, so make sure that they don't go full American on the messaging, that they take care of the needs of the local buyer or the market. And what I've seen change that you ask is, first of all, I think all industries will feel that, is that everything changes super fast, so you need to change messaging, and the buyer changes, everything changes really fast. But in tech, what I've been seeing is as we move from this, you buy licenses, then you buy subscription, and now we are with AI on the, you actually pay for consumption, is changing my role slightly from being all the time 100% on the pipe generation conversations or marketing generation conversations to actually discussing more what happens after the company or the person gets the product, how do they use it? They need to use it. So I think what's going to happen in the future is I'm going to spend a lot of time with people that do implementation, with people that do adoption, just to make sure that people keep buying it, and so they keep paying us for consuming, and then we sell them even more stuff. So that's how I see the evolution of the role in tech. You want to do? I'm very interested to know about the Decathlon PMM profile.
Thank you, Anna. Retail is very different. And before joining Decathlon, I was a solo PMM in a tech B2B startup. So you can imagine it's like 2 different jobs. And I think it's important to start with Decathlon's organization, because sometimes people think that PMMs work on physical product consumption, which I wish. But it's not the case. There are engineering teams working on that. We work in digital. So there is this huge entity called Decathlon Digital, and we have plenty of digital products. And we report to the CPO, so we are part of the product organization, and we work closely with product teams. We do not work that closely with marketing. And our team is called Product Activation. The name speaks for the mission. We are more than 20 PMMs, and we also have market success managers. And the structure of Decathlon is that many different digital products, like the website, where I guess you shop. Who shopped on Decathlon website? Do we have it? Yes, my people. So we have the website, we have the mobile app, but we also have applications that help you work out, like Decathlon Coach, Decathlon Outdoor. We also have a lot of digital products that are available in stores, like the cash deals, or tools that are used by people working in stores to help you find that product or order it. We have the loyalty program. So we have a lot of things that are kind of invisible, but also that contribute to Decathlon customers' digital experience. And we are all working on those in the different departments. And all the products are developed centrally, and then they are there is the go-to-market to different markets. And Decathlon is present in a lot of countries, and often people are surprised by this number. So maybe a couple of guesses in how many countries Decathlon is present, in your opinion? Like
50?
50? Another? Sorry? 50? Another number?
How many? How many countries? Yeah. How many
In how many countries is Decathlon present?
I'd say at least 120.
A bit more than 70 is the closest number. Yeah.
So this was a test.
A bit more, yeah. You win the tent. No, I didn't bring gifts, I'm sorry. But so that's a lot of markets all over the world. As you can imagine, people do not shop in the same way. And we are here, so we have two missions in the activation team. The first one is very transparent, go-to-market and activation. Whenever a new solution is launched, our teams is the one that plans the go-to-market, that chooses the messages, that accompanies the local country leadership, and helps them activate the solution in their market. Let's say we launch a new loyalty program in Thailand. So we work with the local teams, so it's like B2E to C, I would say. And another side of the job is helping the product teams find the product market fit. And also we have a really strong business focus. My KPIs are nothing like the KPIs when I worked in SaaS. My KPIs are GMV, conversion rate, because I work on e-commerce right now, traffic, all these kind of things. So what we do is we implemented a process to collect feedback from all of our markets and then quarterly identify the biggest business opportunities and then influence the roadmap of the product teams to make sure that these opportunities are prioritized and seized. And this way we can satisfy customers in different markets, generate business value, and make sure that we are connected to this market. And all of that is a lot of slides and Excel sheets in practice. And I would say 50% of the job in such a big corporation is stakeholder management. I didn't know what it was before, because before I could go to the CPO and say, hey, look, I've noticed this and this is what we should do. And now it's a lot of work aligning the planets inside the company. So yeah, the product marketer's role takes a very different shape once you join retail or I think generally a large organization.
And that's why I have a special question for Julie that is separate. And it's mostly, everything you just shared is, I'm impressed by what Decathlon does. Kudos to you guys, because I always perceived it as just a retail rather than all the digital behind it and all the product marketing teams. So are you hiring?
Not today.
Maybe we have people interested in shifting. But for Julie, I'm very interested to hear from your perspective leading product marketing teams in the startup ecosystem. So from my experience again working with startups, it's extremely chaotic and you kind of do everything. You're not just a product marketer, you're like any marketer you could ever be. So yeah, curious to hear your perception on that.
Yes, Alma is not a startup anymore.
Sorry,
that's great. We are 350 now, so not a startup anymore. But it's true, it's a very small company, and it has structured over the past years. What is interesting is that Alma is a retail company and a tech company. So basically, the scope of my team is basically both what you do, and what we did. So basically, I arrived at Alma as a first PMM, and nothing was in place. And the first challenge I had is gathering the areas that were a PMM field that were owned by other teams, because product managers were doing competitive intelligence, for example. Sales teams owned the sales pitch and market trends and dynamics, but they were doing things. And so it was, the first thing is explaining what is your interest and how you are legitimate on this role, while other teams were already doing what you should do, basically. And it's very important to do discoveries very early on, like we would do for product discoveries with the product teams. Is basically understanding what are the main needs from our stakeholders, product managers, and the business teams, to be sure that very quickly, we answer those needs with some quick wins as fast as we can. Then the scope is quite wide, but honestly, it's the version of product marketing that I prefer, having the full scope of product marketing from product discovery and market intelligence to product adoption and relaunch campaigns, and that's what we do at Alma. We have product marketers specialized on the international, but they cover all the international markets. Also, PMM focusing on our enterprise merchants, and we are currently moving to a more B2C approach. So we also are working on that. So basically, the scope is very, very wide, but 3 PMMs is good for the size of the company that we have. We have 6 PMs, so the ratio is quite good, in fact. But yes, the scope is very, very large, and we have a lot of KPIs that we follow, because we follow all the retail KPIs from the customers we sell to, because our products need to improve those KPIs. And we also have our internal adoption and revenue KPIs as well. So it's really B2B2C also is kind of a specific market itself.
That's a really good point. Actually, it's not in my questions here, but I'm curious now that you mention it. So business to consumer versus business to business. Do you guys feel like the role changes drastically, or could you manage as a PMM? Could you shift easily from business to consumer to business? Whoever wants to take the question, go for it. Well, I feel like she's going to.
I think... because I did a bit of all of them at some point, and I think 40% of the role, of the core role, stays the same, but then the 60% it changes a lot. In B2B, you do a lot of sales enablement. That's pretty much everything you do most of the time, because this is what generates business value. And I was a solo PMM, and I had a team of like 7 PMs at some point. All I did was go to market, sales enablement, didn't have time to do anything else. When you are in B2C, and I know a PMM who worked at Revolut, they did a lot of A/B testing, they did a lot of in-product onboarding. Also the Dr. Lee PMM team, they do a lot of tests. They have a more data-driven approach, because it's easier to measure things when you are in B2C. When you're in B2E, like Decathlon,
that's a new one.
business to enterprise, because our stakeholders are still leaders of Decathlon, but in countries, in regions, that's stakeholder management, most of it.
We'll get into collaboration with different teams as well. But before we do, I wanted to ask you something for those here who maybe feel like they want to get into the field, or are in marketing but not specifically product marketing, or in consulting roles. Do you think there's an easy shift from someone who comes from maybe even sales, like Clément, and wants to shift into product marketing? Is it easy or is it challenging? Anna, what do you think? And what are the transferable skills?
I think like any career switch, I don't know if I would categorize it as very easy or very difficult. I think it's better to, as you say, focus on transferable skills. I think product marketing, you need to have a lot of curiosity and like to learn about things. If you're in tech, well, definitely you need to like tech. But I came from sales, so I didn't have any marketing experience. So I had a very good manager that just took a chance on me based on maybe those transferable skills. What do I look for in a product marketing manager? I think definitely you need to like storytelling, okay? You need to like telling stories, and you need to like explaining things to people and seeing how things work. But I feel, I was listening to Anastasiia and I felt so hurt, because definitely there's a lot of influencing and stakeholder management. So if you do that, you're already almost a product marketeer. I feel project management. So I think that's something that all marketing people do very well. So that's a plus. And honestly, for me, the most important thing when I hire someone in a new field that is new to the field is are they coachable, or are they open to, learn about new things and change things? That's what I will look mostly in people. So maybe talk with a product marketer today, maybe, and see what they do, how it connects to skill or something that you already do, and then when you apply for the role, do that translation, right? Okay, I manage a lot of events, so I'm really good at cross-collaborating with people, bringing everyone together, and project management. That's for me someone already very strong for a role in my team if I were looking for someone.
And I would love to hear from Julie as well, because you mentioned that you have a team of 3. Clearly, they're very resilient, as you were describing them. So it's also possible...
Hopefully.
Hopefully. But I don't know what this noise is. I'm sorry, guys. But it's okay. I would love to hear from you what are the different skill sets? Because obviously you can't have it all in one PMM. That's maybe possible in like a dream, I don't know. But what would you say are the key skills you're looking for your team?
Yeah, well, I totally agree with Anna on the first skills she mentioned. Obviously, I think one thing which is very important, and mostly because PMMs need to prove that they are revenue driven and not only or not at all spending money sometimes. So I think one skill I'm looking at when I hire product marketers is being data and business driven. Basically, having a high acumen to measure everything we do, to take decisions based on data, and be very interested and used to working with business, to be sure that we measure and we have this revenue aspect of everything we do. Of course, not everything can be measured through revenue, but it's something I really look at when I hire product marketers. And the last thing is around being very adaptable. So it goes a lot with project management, but basically it helps in stakeholder management and working with mainly the sales team, who most of the time don't have the same priorities as you. So very important to be able to adapt to the environment, move fast, sometimes be reactive, because in some companies and mainly in startups, priorities change quite fast. So you need to adapt, be able to react and create contents, create battle cards on the go. So being very adaptable and resilient, of course, because it's the word of the year. Being sure that you are resilient to move on fast.
Okay, so I think it's time to have a therapy session about sales, because I've been so excited to ask you this question. So, stakeholder management, sorry, Clément. But stakeholder management, obviously, you mentioned product managers and sales. I think those are the key stakeholders we work with the most and who outnumber us every single time. So how do you perceive the tricks around being versatile with the sales team of 20 when you're just one PMM, or a product manager who has very high expectations on a roadmap but never delivers anything on time? How do you cope with that? And I'd love for you to share maybe each one story where you had to cope with that and how you managed the situation.
Maybe I can start. I think the key is, as I mentioned earlier, is to be sure that you really understand the core need of the sales team, to be sure that you answer this, and identify how what you are doing can serve their objectives. So basically, when I launch a new product at Alma, basically, they never want to activate it for merchants. But what we do is saying, okay, when you activate this feature, it will help you in increasing your success to reach your objective by X%, because my feature will generate X revenue for your merchants. So I always try to find a way to speak their language, and being sure that they understand why helping me is important for their objectives and reaching their success.
Anastasiia.
Yeah, a bit of really informal tip on how you can deliver the value of product marketing to your teams is change teams.
Oh, really? Okay.
So,
Tell us more.
a story of my life. Whenever I either leave the company or change a team inside the company, and I write a huge handover document, people tell me, "Oh, you have been doing so many things, and now we have to do all that." And this is when they really fully realize. But no, this is a tip. Of course, if you want to change, usually this is when people fully realize the scope and the amount of work you have been doing. But a tip that doesn't include you leaving the team is something that I always struggled with is impacting the product roadmap, because product managers are the ones taking decisions, and it's okay. But PMMs have their say as well in product decisions, and they are the ones who know the customer, know the market, are usually more in contact with the sales teams, analyze data and all that, which PMs also do. But in Decathlon, what helped is really a nice, good old process and structure. And where PMMs had their added value is analyzing all the feedback we collected, all the market situation, all the data, and then picking up 3-4 biggest opportunities and quantifying them. So when we say, okay, this functionality can bring X millions of euros per year, it's really hard for the product team to say, oh no, but not important. We will not be doing that. So it really helps the negotiations to be more concrete, and it helps also for the product marketer to show your impact, because the opportunities you identify, if once they are implemented, of course it's a win of the entire team, but you also played your role in that achievement.
Great. I was going to talk about numbers and data, and you guys stole it from me, but definitely I agree that because I think marketing sometimes we have a different language, so it's good to go approach sales and gain credibility with sales through numbers. But I will mention something else then. I think Julie pointed out to go ahead and talk to them and listen about what their priorities are, and I think when we do that, not limit just to the business priorities, really sit down and understand what's the mindset of a salesperson, because they have different pressure, different expectations, right? They tend to be asked to think very short-term focus, right? They need to think about the month or the quarter, and maybe you're as a marketer thinking about the launch that is happening in 6 months, or how the website is going to yield pipeline in, 9 months, the event. So try to think about these things, how they work. Early in my career, for example, I was doing sales resources for salespeople, creating decks and, like playbooks and things like that. And I thought I was doing great, and then I sat down with someone and it was like, it's great, but you're creating things that I cannot use. I'm not an account executive. I'm a sales development person. I call people on the phone. I have 5 minutes with them. I cannot do a 10-minute demo. It just makes no sense. I have 3 minutes to get this person attention. Nothing that you are creating is good for me. And I thought, okay, I wish I had spent a bit more time with this person before I created all my things. So that's, I think, a tip. And something that I learned is just making sure that the communication has happened, okay? I leave so many meetings thinking I'm on the same page with this person. We're going to make this happen. And then they understood something completely different that I did. So it's the illusion that the communication has happened. And with sales, because it's just a different language, it tends to happen a lot, I think.
Everything you mentioned speaks to me so much, so we're all on the same page. And we're approaching the end of this recording. So the last question I have for you all is, to the beautiful people with us today, what is one thing you want them to take away if they ever choose to get into product marketing? We can start with you, Anna.
Okay. If you're interested in product marketing, I can tell you I think it's a very nice field to work with. What attracted me to it is that, as Julie said, it has a very breadth of scope, and it's a nice mix of strategy and execution, business, creativity. I've been in the field for a few years, so obviously I like it. What I want you to take away is, if you're going to do that switch, just make sure that you're applying to the profile of the PMM that attracts you the most, okay? It's something that I always said when I interview people. I set the expectations very clearly. You know, this role is more go-to-market PMM. You're not going to do like core messaging PMM. Just make sure that you ask, because it's a new field. And I think companies, even in the same industry, even the same size, just understand this thing completely different. So ask and go for it. I think all the switches or changes in my career is because I drove them and tried to be proactive. So I invite everyone to do the same.
I had a very similar tip, so I'm going to say a different thing. Because it's true, product marketing takes different shapes, and it also means that if you prefer doing content, you can be more content-focused. PMM, if you like strategy, you can be more strategy-focused, etc. My tip is invest in soft skills. You will have to explain your role a lot to a lot of different stakeholders. Written, oral, presentation, that's, you will have to do that. So practice and, work on the storytelling of the job. Oftentimes, I think it also depends on the maturity of the product marketing team in the company where you're at, but still, this is something indispensable and also ensures a good start and good relationship with your stakeholders.
I fully agree with the tips, and I'm thinking right now of another one. But basically, yes, if you want to join the lovely product marketing community, of course, try. Obviously, if you come from sales, product, and marketing teams, you have core skills that will help in product marketing. That's for sure. I think choosing a product and an industry that you like is very helpful as well, because product marketing, as marketing, we really need to believe in the product we sell and believe in the market, and we dig a lot in consumers' needs, their sometimes psychology traits, and really understand the market dynamics very deeply. So I guess if you choose an industry and a product you are convinced about and you like, it's very much easier. So maybe that would be my tip. So for example, for a personal note, I didn't know anything about fintech before joining Alma. I really thought it was boring and it was not for me. But yeah, I understood that the product was completely different. B2B2C was another thing about fintech, and it was more a retail tech than a fintech. So I chose this company because of the project and because of the product I believed in. So I think this is super important for product marketing. But of course, meet product marketers. These kind of events are of course made for that. And yes, go for it.
Thank you so much to all of you, and for everyone here listening, let's applaud our lovely speaker. Thank you.